Good evening and welcome to Sports Weekly, driven by Terry Hendricks Ford and live at JJ Wynn's here in Holiday City. Another Wednesday installment of the show presented in addition to Terry Hendricks Ford by JJ Wynn's, the Bryan Parks and Rec Department, Fackler Monument Company, and the main stops of Northwest Ohio. A couple of great guests on with us tonight. Stryker head football coach Kent Holsopple will join us in segment number 2. And our opening guest here in our first segment, Defiance head football coach Travis Cooper. Coop, thanks for being here with us tonight.
Long time no see. Thanks for having me.
Love having you here. Love talking ball. Bad news for Bummer on our locks of the week later, but you
I let everybody down, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I was so good last year.
Yeah.
But it's early, right?
Yeah.
I was 2-0 the first week, 0-2 this last week.
But there's another week, so redemption. I'm sure you've got a couple of good locks for our listeners.
I've got a couple ones later.
If you're a betting guy or girl, listen to Bummer.
You know what? I take great pride in that. I do a lot of research. I don't just listen to what the people on the podcast and pundits say. No, I didn't. I failed last week.
No, it's all right. There's always time for redemption.
How about your Irish?
That's another story. Time for redemption. Time for redemption, right? Coop, 2-2 start to the season. First of all, thanks for being here. We didn't get to hook up last year. Tell us a little bit about transition and becoming the Defiance football coach, what it's been like now from leading up to year 1 to 1 to 2 now, and how you all are on the same page now.
Yeah, this year's been so much better because I'm a preparer. I'm an organized person, and that first year getting the job in May, I felt like there were 8 million things that I would have already had done by then. And so it was just flying by the seat of my pants, that first year and trying to get everything ready. And so this year, being able to prep and have the off-season program and get all the other stuff that people don't realize that you got to get taken care of in terms of like apparel and all the parents group stuff and fundraisers. I felt way more comfortable this year going into the summer conditioning and training sessions. So it's been great. I love it at Defiance. It's a job that I've always wanted to have. I never would have left Defiance in the first place if I didn't want to be a head football coach. But, Coach Byu, I knew was going to be there for a while, and he was really supportive of me, wanting to go out and be a head coach. And that's when the Bryan job came up. And, to come full circle and be back there with a lot of the same people that I taught with back the first time. And then also some new people that I've had connections with and teach with those people. And, I'm just ecstatic to be back there. And I knew I had a high mountain to climb, taking the job. But, I'm not chasing wins someplace and going where the best talent is. I wanted to go someplace where I really, this was home. Yeah. So it's been amazing.
Tough WBL schedule. It doesn't get much tougher than that, especially in Northwest Ohio. Even if you get into the track and the City League and all, not the City League anymore, but all of that. Talk to us a little bit about how difficult it is week in and week out to play in the WBL.
9 of them.
And you got 9 conference games, only 1 non-conference game.
Yeah, and it makes your non-conference really, really important for your league in terms of playoff points. But it's I always said in NWAL was a great league. I mean, one of the best in Northwest Ohio. The WBL is a step up from that. And the main thing is it's bigger schools. You don't see as much turnover in rosters. You see seniors graduate, but there's kids that would have been starting at a lot of teams that are just having to wait their turn. So they graduate a group of seniors, and there's guys that have been chomping at the bit, and they're just as good as those guys that they're replacing. So you don't see big drops usually, especially in your bigger schools in the league. And it's a big league. The travel plays another big role in it.
Yeah.
We're traveling a long ways.
Have you ever done the average of how much you travel for away
I know that's
games?
out there. It's a lot.
Hour and a half, 2 hour travels.
Yeah, a short trip for us is 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And
that was kind of a neat thing with the NWAL because Wauseon is right there in the middle, and you're 10 minutes, 15 minutes away from 10 minutes from Archibald. Your longest game is probably what, Bryan?
Yeah,
Bryan or PH.
Yep. And your non-league, the non-league being Fairview and Sonora and Napoleon. Bus trips were nice.
Yeah.
But man, I tell you, the bus trip down to Kenton, which they have to make this week, that's no joke. You spend a lot of time on your bus, and then you get home really, really late, and you got a really early morning the next day. Yeah. So there's a lot of levels to it. But the WBL, it's a great league.
So before you got the job, you probably had an expectation or an intuition of what the program had been like. I mean, we're not sugarcoating anything. Defiance has been, the numbers back it up. It has been down 13-57 from 2014 through 2020. So when you saw what was not happening in the right way from the outside, and now that you're on the inside, are they the same, or is it different situations? What do you feel like has been the issue, and where do you feel like you're getting it to now, and are you getting it solved?
Well, the number one thing, and I knew this because, I had been there before, and I knew it from before it had kind of slid to being back, was discipline. I mean, the kids crave discipline. There's a lot of people that think that discipline is wrong, and nowadays it's kind of like, oh, you're being mean, you're being hard on the kids. Discipline and just little things, just a snapshot of last week's game. One of our captains was late to our time up, and we have a strict policy about being late to anything.
Yeah.
So our starting two-way captain was running stadium snakes. We made him run 2 of them before we got on the bus to go. And just setting the standard for our younger kids, that it doesn't matter if you're the star player and a captain and a starter, you're going to abide by the same rules that everybody else did. And so just doing those things and our kids seeing that everybody's held to the same standard, our words hold more weight. We're not just saying things just for the sake of saying them. And just all those things, getting to school on time. We have consequences for being tardy. We have consequences for being late to study tables. We run run on and off the field. We don't take our helmets off on the sideline. We don't go off in our little pods and have little cliques. And so all those little things
tough to do and tough to manage a big football program and keep it on tack.
It is. And to the outside person, that doesn't seem like a big deal. But it's been the thing that's been my hallmark at both Bryan and Nwoal. And the kids adapt and they love it. And then the kids start policing themselves, and the coaches don't have to. But, those first couple years, it's tough. And there's a lot of people that really kind of look at you
resist
side-eyed.
That.
Yes. And some of those kids have maybe gone on and decided to not play football. They couldn't kind of walk the line. But our kids that are playing right now, they know the expectations. We, as coaches, abide by the same expectations. And I think that's gone a long ways in starting to change our culture right now.
Yeah. Discipline, I think you said kids create or starve for it more than what we give them credit for. And that word discipline, I think sometimes can either be misconstrued or it scares people that they are thinking, well, this is tyrant discipline. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're talking about here. No. This is accountability and it's fairness for everybody.
Expectations is what it is. Yeah. It's expectations that we have set expectations, and we expect everybody to meet those expectations. And so it's not, a discipline thing. And our kids know that. And, when we start to see some of the successes from those little things that we're doing, our words hold more weight with the kids. It's prime reason, we train so hard in the summer. We get to the end of a game in week 1 and our kids are fresh and we're like, we got more left in the tank, and they got their hands on their knees. Then they're like, they start to see the method to our madness. But I love our kids.
But you can't compete in a football team if you don't have good discipline. There's just no possible way to do it, Coop.
Yep.
And again, I think kids want parameters. They don't mind as long as you give them outlines. They want to play in that yard.
Yep.
But you got to give them, when you step outside that yard, then there's going to be consequences.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the first year was really challenging. And then you have a lot of kids that they've been coached a different way their whole career, mm-hmm. and you're asking them to change in a really short period of time. So we knew there were going to be some resistance and kickback. But the fortunate thing is we started a lot of young guys last year, and it was their first experience with varsity football. And so they knew the expectations from the get-go. And I was, it was the long-term plan, because that's all they're going to know when they're seniors. So
tell us about this team. What does this group do? You're 2-2 for those that don't know. What does this group do well when you watch them live and, boy, we look really good? Where are some areas that you struggled through the first month?
Well, I think the first thing that would even pop off to the people that are at every one of our games this year is we go 100 miles an hour all the time. We play extremely hard. We're undersized in every game that we play. But that's been that way even back to when I was coaching with Coach Beauty, was an assistant back years ago. But we're tough, we're gritty, we're blue collar, we're not prima donnas, showboats. We don't have any of that. Yeah. And so when you watch our team and if you're a true fan of football, you can appreciate the way that we play. The other thing that has been a great thing that our team has really kind of hung their hat on this year is cleaning up the undisciplined play. We're leading the league right now in penalties. We only have 10 on the year, only 100 yards in penalties so far. We have the second best turnover differential. We're +5 right now. No turnovers last week. So we're taking care of the ball, and we're not having self-inflicted wounds. And so those are things that are going to carry a team a long, long way. And so we really have praised our kids for that and keep that going.
More games are lost than are won, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, in a game that maybe would get out of hand, you find yourself in the game. And last week being a prime example of that. You know, we finished +3 in the turnovers last week. It's 12-0 at the halftime. We're down. That was the difference in the game. And so the kids are starting to see that the little things that we're talking about, we're just not blowing smoke, that there's a reason why we do this, and they're starting to take pride in that. Getting to the other part of your question, the things that we do poorly or we're struggling with a little bit, our tackling's been inconsistent. We've given up way too much in terms of plays where we should be in a certain spot, misalignment, misreads, lack of communication, those kinds of things. The other thing that we got to get better at is our consistency as a team. You know, to start the game last week the way that we did was a shell of the team that I see every day in practice. And we had some of that last year when we beat Napoleon and then we get waxed by St. Mary's 56-0. We got to learn to handle success better than what we are. So this week's going to be a big week for us, and we're coming off of a win. What kind of team are we going to see on Friday? We've been talking about that. If you want to get to be where you want to be as a program, you can't pull down the guard and relax once you get a pat on the back and everybody telling you great game, and go out and just go through the motions the next week. So if they want to get to where we want to be, we've got to have a really great week this week.
Yeah. Kenton this week. Tell us about what you're facing in at this. I can't believe it. Midway point of the schedule already.
Well, it goes quick, doesn't it?
It does.
It's crazy that it's week 5. You know, they're a team that struggled last year. 0-10. Started a lot of young guys, a lot of freshmen. Their starting quarterback was a freshman, thrown right into the fire. The thing that they're doing really well, they're changing their scheme a little bit to their kids. So that, you know, normally they're a 90% pass team. And right now they're 50-50 run and pass. So they still do a lot of their spread out stuff where they got you spread sideline to sideline empty, quads, all that good stuff. But they'll put a back in the backfield, they'll run their quarterback, and that adds another dimension for defense. It makes it difficult when you got to account for the quarterback tucking and running. And so they're playing with some confidence. They've got a win so far this year. They've been battling in their games, and they're probably going to be a little salty about last year's game. You know, they had a huge streak against us. I think it was something like 16 years we hadn't beaten them. And we beat them down there last year with the running clock. And, you know, there was a lot of animosity after that game on their part. So I know that they're going to be coming up and wanting to return the favor, and it's going to be a little bit fired up for us. So hopefully, like I said, our guys can take last week's win and we can start stacking wins on it.
Numbers for the future, junior high numbers, JV numbers, etc., program numbers that you have right now, Coop?
Not where we want them to be. We've got to get better there. Our junior high numbers are a little bit improved from last year. You know, with having a year under my belt, I've been able to get with our youth football program teams and our junior high staff, which I didn't get to do in year one much. To try to lay out a plan, a blanket plan to try to keep kids out. You know, there's no doubt about it in our community. Baseball is king, and basketball is right there behind them. And so, you know, we've got to battle to keep those kids that would be great football players out. And I think that the kids that are seeing in the stands, watching in the stands, they're starting to see the excitement that our school is generating on Friday football nights. And so hopefully we can start to keep some of those kids around, and that all of our programs can be successful, because I know there's some kids on our other teams that were great football players but gave it up for some reason that they gave it up along the line, and we haven't gotten those kids back. We got to do a better job of keeping a hold of those kids.
Is in your estimation, is Defiance still a football town? And if it's not, can it get back to that?
I think deep down in the roots, Defiance is a football town. And there's no doubt about it. And I think if Defiance football can get back to where they used to be up at the top, you're going to see an amazing rally of our community around football. There's a lot of people in our town that deep down football is everything. And with the lack of success that we've had in the last so many years, some of that has been pushed to other things. But we have great coaches at our school, great mentors, and there's no reason that we all can't be successful.
1997 team, 25-year anniversary, is that right?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
That's happening this weekend.
This weekend. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I was a senior that year, so I'm feeling old, but I was a senior that year at Fairview, and those kids that played on that team, I ran into in our 7-on-7s that year. In baseball, I played against all those kids. I'd go to the movies in Defiance, and some of their players were working there, and I'd try to get free tickets. Let me in. You know, it's really kind of the pinnacle of Defiance football. You know what they did, 14-0, and to be able to come back after the year that they had that year, where they were just punishing people, and there were so many great stories on that team of guys that were either stepped up because of an injury or had to step in because of a certain circumstance, and they rose to the challenge. I know it's going to be awesome for those guys to be back, and we talked a little bit about that with our team today after practice, because a lot of those kids have heard about the team and heard some of the things that they did, but they didn't have the frame of reference point to know what it's like to be a varsity football player. And for you to talk about them going 14-0 and the way their practices were, where they had to literally separate guys from killing each other in practice, and to pull back the reins and no contact because they were just murdering each other. I think it has a better, it resonates with the kids a little bit better now. And even have two coaches on my staff that were on that team, and both of their kids are players on my team now. So it's really, really cool for them to be able to come back. And I know there's been a good turnout of guys that said they're coming back, and I know Coach Beauty is really excited about seeing all those guys.
Last question I got for you, and we'll let you get out of here. This is the second year we're doing this. Where do you land on expanded playoffs?
Well, before I was way against it. I thought that there needs to be a standard. It was great to be in the top 8. And you wanted, if you didn't get in the top 8, well, you didn't do enough to get in. But building a program and having that carrot that's still hanging out there later in the year, I think it adds to our kids in just going a little bit harder, working a little bit harder, not packing it in so early. And I think no matter what, the best team's still going to come out of it. And so, why not? Why not? I think that, we're hoping that we can do enough in this rest of the season to get in there. And for a program that's root building like us, I think it could be pivotal for us to experience that and to get some extra practice in too. So I can see both sides, and I'll be first to tell you I was way against it to begin with. But in our situation right now with my kids, I just hope we get to experience it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hey, Coop, thanks for coming and being with us tonight. Best of luck, tremendous success, and keep the ball and train rolling at Defiance.
All right, thanks for doing what you guys do. You guys are awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you
brother.
so much.
Travis Cooper, head coach of the Defiance Bulldogs, our first guest tonight. We'll talk Stryker football with Kent Holsopple when we come back in just a moment.
Here's your updated B-Rock 100.9 forecast. Mainly clear skies and quiet tonight with lows around 54. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, highs level off around 79. Tomorrow night, lows dip down to about 56. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Friday, with daytime highs approaching 83. 85 Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 75 degrees.
It's Thirsty Thursday at all the main stops in Northwest Ohio. What does that mean? It means that every Thursday, all day long, you will get any size fountain drink or any size coffee for only 79 cents. All day long, every Thursday, any size fountain drink, any size coffee or cappuccino. Stop in to your main stop and see everything they have to offer every day. Main stops, always there when you need us.
The Bryan Park Parks and Recreation Department would like to wish the Bryan Golden Bears good luck in tonight's game. The Bryan Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of classes for you during the entire year and an array of sporting events all year long. Check out what the Bryan Parks and Recreation Department has going on at bryanparksandrec.com or like them on Facebook. The Bryan Parks and Rec hopes to see you in one of the many parks that Bryan has to offer and enjoy the facilities. Questions about the classes or rental of one of their facilities, call 633-6030.
I want to talk to you for the next 30 seconds about the place to go for your next vehicle. Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald. Whether it's a new vehicle for purchase, a lease vehicle, or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle, Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald is the place to turn. They also have this fantastic service department as well. Service after the sale. Terry Hendricks Ford, serving all of your vehicle needs in Northwest Ohio. Go to terryhendricksford.com.
Hi, I'm Sally Jo Metzger with the Fackler Monument Company in Montpelier, Ohio. It's fair season, and we'll have a booth at the Williams County Fair this year. Come out and save 10% on all upright memorials. The Fackler Monument Company features the largest indoor memorial display in the tri-state area. You can go online to facklermonument.com to see what we have to offer. And we're bringing you the opportunity to save 10% at the Williams County Fair. The Fackler Monument Company of Montpelier, Ohio, serving families since 1924.
Welcome back to JJ Wins and Sports Weekly, driven by Terry Hendricks Ford. We're heading into segment number 2. Want to tell you, next week we have Eden head football coach Bob Olwin on the show, and Antwerp head coach Jason Hale will be joining us next week for Sports Weekly. Here again at 7 o'clock next week. Want to talk Stryker football with head coach Kent Holsopple, 4th year at Stryker?
Fourth year as head coach, yes.
Tell us a little bit about from when you took over then to now in year number 4. I mean, comfortable and kids are out and numbers are a little bit better. Give us everything from your perspective with Stryker football.
Yeah, year 1 as head coach was quite a bit of a change for me. I guess I was on staff with Justin on year 1 of our varsity season, but we were kind of going into year 2 in attack, 11-man still, and we had gotten reached out by Holgate and TC had reached out to us early that season, before the season started, saying, hey, we're going to go 8-man. We don't have the numbers. Are you willing to play us? And we said, I was like, what is 8-man? So then we said, yes, for sure, we'll play you. Then we transitioned, and we went through the season. We had later in the season, we went up against Northwood, and they put it to us pretty good, and we had to forfeit the following week because of numbers. We were down some kids, and we finished the season strong, and then we saw this 8-man as a bridge to get us to where we needed to go as far as a football program with development and everything. So we made the transition with our partners, Holgate, TC, and Danbury, and we just picked up Sandusky St. Mary's as well, and we went forward with the 8-man, and it's been a great transition for us.
Yeah. And how was it for you, Coach? 11-man guy, and then all of a sudden you got to learn 8-man. The rules that are a little different. I know the field shrinks a little bit. It's still football, still Friday night. Kids still love it. But there are some subtle nuances that you have to familiarize yourself with.
Oh, most definitely. That was the first week when we played Holgate. My first year, we played an 8-man game right out the gate. And, we had been in camp 11-man, and we just put in the 8-man stuff like the week before. And angles are different. Schematics are different. Special teams, we had a field goal kicker that we had an extra point try, and he just absolutely, the ends got to him so quick, didn't even think about that. So it's just one example of just a subtle angles and schematics that were different, but we went into it and we did the best we could. We like the game. It's a little bit more open. It's just for the folks out there that don't really realize it's a narrower field. We still play a 100-yard field, but it's a narrow, just outside the numbers for 11-man is where our out of bounds are, so 40 yards wide, and it's fun. It's intriguing. It's fan friendly, and the kids like it. And our injuries have went down, so it's been good for our kids too. But it's football, like you said.
Yeah, it's football, and you can sustain it at a small school, and this kids still get that football experience. And just because there's 3 less that are on the field doesn't take away from what you're doing. It's still tackle football.
It is definitely tackle football, and it's giving our kids more confidence. And I mean, this is year 7 of our football program too. Yeah. So we've gotten more confidence in our kids, and they're feeling better about it.
And they go in the hallways during the school day. They've had some success on Friday night. It means all the difference in the world. And I know Stryker's got a great cross-country program and also plays golf, but there's just something unique, I think, about football because it's a community gathering thing, and everybody can get behind it. And the fact that you're having great success right now got to mean something in the hallways of the school.
It does. It's really put a pep in our hallways, if you will. And the kids on Friday night, I mean, we got a little football field on the side that the maintenance crew painted up for the kids. It's like cool. If I had that when I was growing up in West Union, I thought that was a Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
It's been a great little addition.
You get back in the stands in those days. You're not allowed to play out there.
But the kids in the community are really rallying, having a good time, and our administration and our staff are just so supportive, and our kids and our students are even more fun.
Kent, want to ask you about this year's team. Off to a terrific start, as we've mentioned, at 3-0, scoring some points, having some fun. Tell us about this year's team. What do you like about this group?
We are a senior-led team. That's what I I like the best about our team. Our 3 captains, Levi, Jaden, and Nwoal. They are true captains, second-year captains, and it's a player-led team, which is key. I know Bummer will know that for sure. When you have a player-led team, there's no limits to what you can do because they're out there holding each other accountable, and they're just talking the talk, they're walking the walk too. They're out there and they're getting after it, and their seniors are just
fun to coach. Are they fun to coach?
Extremely fun to coach. They're very competitive. I love to see that competitive spirit that we have on our team too. The rest of our seniors too, Matthew, Jeffrey, and Big E too are out there. All our seniors are just great leaders. Caddy, our junior, who's been our second-year starting quarterback, Jacob Cadwell. He's just been a great kid too. We've got tremendous leaders and great followers, too, that are willing to put in the work and do whatever it takes for us to be successful. So it's been great.
So where can this league, the Northern 8, for those that don't know, you're part of the Northern 8 Conference. Where can this go? What's the next step in evolution? Not just for Northern 8 necessarily, but I guess 8-man football in general. What do you think is the next step in this evolution?
Well, we've got to get more support from schools that want to try it, and the ones that are maybe at a crossroads in their programs to see it as a viable option forward for them to continue to offer football in their schools, because I'm not rooting for anybody to lose football in their schools, and not having success in your schools, it wears on the kids, and this is a viable option. So us getting more schools to jump on board, for us to get sanctioned by OHSAA, for us to be part of a tournament type of format too, and just to grow, because this isn't just a niche in Ohio. This is 8-man football is nationwide. Nationwide.
The Plain States and in Texas, there's a lot of 8-man football.
Just up in Michigan, obviously, we have 3 teams that we played in Michigan too. This beginning of the season. So,
and I think with football having diminishing numbers nationwide, I think 8-man's in a pretty good spot. You're going to get more and more teams, and programs are going to grow, and leagues are going to grow. So I don't think you're going to have such a problem finding games, is what I'm saying, in the future, which is a good thing. You don't want to see anybody lose 11 man, but as you said so eloquently, it's a viable option.
It is, and it's something that, for us, it works. It's a match for our school and our district and our community. And the kids have really started to take a liking to it more, and it's something that, viable forward. Yes, I feel it will be. It's just a matter of us continuing to grow our credibility and showing the people that this is a credible product, that when they come out and watch it, it's fun. I mean, it's fun, and it's Friday Night Lights, and it's good.
Do you have kids as you get farther down the line as far as junior high and younger? What does that look like for Stryker? What's the interest level?
Right now at our junior high program, our 7th and 8th grade, we have 13 kids that are playing. They're playing 8-man football too. And down at our 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade levels, we have flag football, and we're doing 6-on-6 formats for them, 5-on-5.
Are you doing it within Stryker?
With the flag football, we were originally in another community doing flag football, and I was a part of that, and I saw our kids weren't getting as much out of that as we were hoping to, so we kind of drew it back in, and we got my coaching staff, our kids, some community members too involved, and we're doing that in order to get the kids reps and just get them used to football and the fundamentals and just having a fun experience that continues to drive them to continue to learn and to participate.
So important. Football is so important for schools, and if you don't have football at your school, I think, as you said, Coach, get 8-man football if you can fund it. I think most schools have enough people that they could have 8-man football, and I know it takes a lot of money with the facilities and getting the field and all of that stuff, but like you said, there's not too many, and I love all sports as you do, there's not too many sports that teach great life lessons like playing football. So it's so cool that Stryker's got it and having success. Talk to us about the playoff situation. How many teams are in the 8-man football playoffs?
Well, right now in our conference, we have 6 teams in our conference, and the way we're going to be running the postseason this season will be the top 4 that finish in our league standings will compete for the championship. The bottom 2 will have a consolation. So better seeded teams will host that first week, and then the top 4 will compete for the league championship. We're still working through the location for that championship game, but I think it's going to be in a larger Northwestern Ohio environment. So, there's some good venues on the list that we're going to come up, and it'll be something we can promote with our TV partners and also our media partners too, that it'll be something that the kids will be really excited to participate in.
Tell us a little bit about Toledo Christian. That's who you have this weekend, right?
Reigning league champ, extremely talented, very physical, very athletic, very fast. They are the team to beat. They've competed so far this season. We have one like opponent. We both played Morenci, Michigan. They played them week 1. We played them week 2. We both beat them. But there was a close game for us, and it was a pretty close game for them as well. They've also played Nwoal Christian, who's the reigning league state champion up in Michigan. Had not been beat. They took them within a touchdown of almost beating them. So they're very good, and we're going to have our hands full. But we're really looking forward to the opportunity to play in them.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Congrats on the 3-0 start to this year. And boy, I know you hit on it a little bit with the number of seniors, but it has got to feel so good to have an experienced group. I mean, it makes your job so much easier, especially when they take ownership of a team like an experienced team tends to.
It does. They just like today, just taking over drills and just giving that critique. And it's not the coaches saying, hey, fix this. Hey, look at that. You need to do this better. It's the kids out there saying, come on, this is what we need to do. This is what it has to be. And that's powerful.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us tonight, Kent. Best of luck this week and the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Kent Holsopple, head coach of the Stryker Panthers, our guest in segment number 2. Foz is about ready to unload. Drop knowledge.
I'm so upset last week, man. I
you will recover. I have every faith in you.
I embarrassed myself, my friend.
Well, that's why we have week 3. Okay. We'll have that. And we have some really good football matchups this week.
A lot better than last week. And you know what? That wasn't my fault.
College?
That was the bad slate of games.
We have college, but we have a really good high school schedule. We're going to get into that. It's all coming up next in our final segment. Stay with us.
Here's your updated B-Rock 100.9 forecast. Mainly clear skies and quiet tonight with lows around 54. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, highs level off around 79. Tomorrow night, lows dip down to about 56. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Friday, with daytime highs approaching 83. 85 Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 75 degrees.
It's Thirsty Thursday at all the main stops in Northwest Ohio. What does that mean? It means that every Thursday, all day long, you will get any size fountain drink or any size coffee for only 79 cents. All day long, every Thursday, any size fountain drink, any size coffee or cappuccino. Stop in to your main stop and see everything they have to offer every day. Main stops, always there when you need us.
Hi, I'm Sally Jo Metzger with the Fackler Monument Company in Montpelier, Ohio. It's fair season, and we'll have a booth at the Williams County Fair this year. Come out and save 10% on all upright memorials. The Fackler Monument Company features the largest indoor memorial display in the tri-state area. You can go online to facklermonument.com to see what we have to offer. And we're bringing you the opportunity to save 10% at the Williams County Fair. The Fackler Monument Company of Montpelier, Ohio, serving families since 1924.
I want to talk to you for the next 30 seconds about the place to go for your next vehicle. Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archbold. Whether it's a new vehicle for purchase, a lease vehicle, or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle, Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archbold is the place to turn. They also have this fantastic service department as well. Service after the sale. Terry Hendricks Ford, serving all of your vehicle needs in Northwest Ohio. Go to terryhendricksford.com.
The Bryan Parks and Recreation Department would like to wish the Bryan Golden Bears good luck in tonight's game. The Bryan Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of classes for you during the entire year and an array of sporting events all year long. Check out what the Bryan Parks and Recreations Department has going on at bryanparksandrec.com or like them on Facebook. The Bryan Parks and Rec hopes to see you in one of the many parks that Bryan has to offer and enjoy the facilities. Questions about the classes or rental of one of their facilities, call 633-6030.
Final segment here of Sports Weekly, powered by Terry Hendricks Ford. And mentioned with Coop, I can't believe we're at week 5 already. After this weekend, we'll be midway through the high school football season. Boy, we have some fun matchups on paper. I'm going to start and then build up. First one, actually there's 2 I have my eye on in the GMC. The first one is Ayersville at Edgerton. Edgerton's first in computer points this week in Division 7, Region 26. Ayersville's in the hunt. Ayersville off to a nice start. They're 3-1. Yeah.
Sneaky good. No one's talking about them.
Tell me a little bit about that matchup on how you see it.
I think it's going to be tighter than people think. I like Edgerton to win that game by less than a score at home. But yeah, you're right. Ayersville's been, I think we could argue, one of the surprise teams in the area with some couple quality wins there at the beginning against Delta. Obviously got a win against Delta. Delta, of course, beat Evergreen. Delta at the bottom tier of the NWAL, but not a terrible team. So Ayersville, that's been one of the surprise teams that we've had for sure.
Marquee matchup in the GMC. Not going to decide the conference, but it's taken that first step. It's Antwerp at Tenora. Tenora's won a million in a row in this series, and Antwerp feels like maybe this is the year that they can end that. Both teams playing extremely well coming into this game.
So 4 teams in the GMC, obviously. Antwerp and, of course, Tenora. Wayne Trace and Edgerton. Edgerton with the big win last week.
And Ayersville.
And Ayersville. I don't want to discount them. I think those 4, though, are maybe a little better than Ayersville. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. But big win this last weekend. Tight win Edgerton had over Wayne Trace.
Yep.
And Wayne Trace was one of our dark horses. I think probably right now, as the way it looks, and things can change, it's all fluid, as we say, my good friend. The 2 teams that are maybe gradually kind of separating themselves are playing each other this weekend. Antwerp,
knowing what each team likes to do and do well.
Styles.
Tell me how this plays out.
So I think Antwerp, although likes to throw, it's not exclusive. Leasty in the backfield is as quick as they come. Running that pistol set. So they'll mix it up. I'm going to tell you 60-40 pass to run ratio. Tenora just the other way around. More so than that. They're more 80-20. And it's going to be more physical, and they've got the big bodies because it's a higher populated area than most teams in the GMC. So they're going to churn out more athletes every year. So physically reducing risks. Running the football has been a formula that has worked for them very good, playing good defense. So be interesting to say. If you're putting me on the line here and say who's going to win it, I'll take Antwerp.
Road win for Antwerp.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go to the
Tight.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah. We go to the NWOAL and the matchup that everyone is talking about. I mean, this isn't just a Northwest Ohio collision. This is getting statewide play this week. Undefeateds. So many computer points sitting here on the line in Division 5. Archbold hitting the road to play at Liberty Center. Split last year. Of course, Archbold won the regular season. Liberty with a stunner in the postseason. How do you see this regular season?
Well, I think you and I both like Liberty Center this year. Archbold's had a great year. Took a little time to get going against Bryan. Bryan, one of those sneaky good teams that we forget about because they got just hammered by Van Wert. But Van Wert, again, I know they just lost this last weekend, but they're good enough to win the whole thing, I'm told. We have not seen them. So Bryan not as bad as maybe what some people thought, and gave some pushbacks and resistance against Archbold. They ended up winning, I think, by 2 scores, 28-14.
Yep.
That sound right. So Liberty Center, I think, just too much. I just think too much for Archbold. Doesn't mean they won't score, make it competitive, but I think the physicality of Liberty Center. I think they're the best team in the end, and they just hammered Wauseon this last weekend. So
this is our first real kind of handful of showdown games on the schedule for Northwest Ohio football. It's exciting week 5. Want to flip the script to college football. Dive into week 3. Some interesting matchups here. Georgia at South Carolina.
Well,
any matchup there? Is any chance of an upset?
No, I don't think so. And it's a big spread, 23 points, I believe, the last time I checked. So I think Georgia wins that easily. Georgia's pretty good. They could be the best team in the country.
How about BYU at Oregon?
That's an interesting
top
one.
25 game.
Oregon's ready. I mean, they're due, aren't they? They just got smoked by Auburn. BYU's battle tested, though.
Georgia. They got smoked by Georgia. Oregon
did,
yeah.
BYU's battle tested, though.
Yep.
Beat Baylor this last weekend. Opened up at UCF. It's a very veteran team for BYU, a very old team that I think they returned 18 of 21 starters. But it's on the road.
Plus, you get those BYU also, when you say older, not to interrupt you, you get the Mission kids as well. That makes them older.
Sure, more physical.
Yep.
So it's this is a sneaky game because I think BYU, everybody will say that's your pick, but it's on the road in Oregon. Oregon hadn't looked great. They're due. They're at home. I'll take BYU, but I would stay away from that one.
How about Penn State at Auburn?
So that's a 3-point swing right there, and actually Penn State's has given 3 points. They're laying 3 points, so they are the favorite. And Penn State at home at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn has not looked great. Tough to beat an SEC team on the road. I think that's a night game. Did I look at that right? I'm not sure on that. Which, if it were, that would make it even more difficult. I have seen Penn State this year, a little bit of Auburn. Penn State, of course, Sean Clifford's is legit, and their backup that doesn't get in much is pretty darn good too.
Ohio kid.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, I thought nobody was going to beat Ohio State. The only team that could beat Ohio State in the Big Ten, I thought, was Michigan, and I think Penn State could. I'm not saying they would, but I'm saying they could. Yeah.
And last two that I wanted to...
I didn't answer your question.
Oh, sorry.
Penn State wins on the road. Big win.
The last two we know are night games. Sparty goes to Washington this week. Interesting game there. Washington,
tough
new head
to win
coach,
on the West
Kalen
Coast,
DeBoer.
bro. Washington's look good. Tough to win on the West Coast. Take the home team. I'll take Washington.
Got an upset there.
Yeah.
Miami at A&M.
A&M losing big this week to Appalachian State.
Cost you.
Cost me. That was one of my locks.
And that was your over. That was your over pick.
Yeah, it wasn't the points. It was I thought it'd be over. I think it was 54 or 50. I don't know. Ended up 17-19. So it was a low-scoring game, which was surprising to me. How good's A&M? They can't throw the football. Physical. They got those great recruiting classes. You got to throw the ball a little bit. I think conventional wisdom is Jimbo Fisher. It's at home. It's coming off of a loss. They're going to be ready to go against Miami, who has not really been challenged. I guess I don't have an issue with that. I think they're -5 the last I checked. But that'll be a good game.
Want to just throw this out just for a conversation and get your thoughts on this. A&M losing to App State. Notre Dame losing at home to Marshall. Georgia Southern beating Nebraska, which eventually cost Scott Frost his job. So, A, the Sun Belt is on fire right now.
Yeah, boy, they
B,
are.
I made a point in a conversation with a friend of mine that said, in the era of the transfer portal and in the era of NIL, those kind of games are going to become more feasible. I'm not going to say we're going to see these every week. Don't get me wrong. But you look at a team like, we use Marshall as an example. They had 24 transfers, most of them from Power 5 schools. So going into Notre Dame didn't faze them one bit. Mm-hmm. App State the same way. They had just pushed North Carolina the week before. So more of those games become more possible now in this new era that we're playing in. Agree?
Yeah, well said. It's just different. And the rosters are changing every year and sometimes midway through the year. And, you just don't know. You're exactly right. And the Sun Belt, as you said, is really looking good. Conference USA, of course, is going to be, if you're not making first team in Alabama, why not go to Cincinnati? Those kind of things, that changes the dynamic. And, maybe you're good enough on one of those any given Sunday to beat one of those Power 5 teams or a real good Power 5 team and get yourself in the playoffs like Cincy did last year. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I would like to see in the transfer portal giving them windows in which they can. I don't like it kind of right now. It's a free-for-all. I think there's got to be a period of time where you can transfer. It's not fair to the schools that are counting on them and the coaches that are developing them, and they just up and leave right during the season or early part of the season. I'd like to see like a month or two or
I would
after
agree.
the season.
Shout out, by the way, to Sark in Texas.
Wow,
Boy,
what a
played
game.
real well. Did
Sure.
it with a backup quarterback most of that game as well
See that
against
call in the end
Alabama.
zone? See that call in the end zone?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
And then would have still won the game, and the defensive end, don't remember his name, whiffed on Bryce Young, had him for a sack. Game's over.
He was mediocre all game until money time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Heisman Trophy winner with a Heisman Trophy play.
Maybe, but
I'm not saying he wins it, but I'm just saying that's the caliber of athlete that you.
Caleb Williams from USC right now. Would he be your front runner?
Yeah, I think
Big
so.
numbers.
2 games in.
2 games
Yeah.
in. Big numbers, though.
Dead man walking finally happened. Scott Frost out. And you know what? They didn't even wait because October 1st was you cut that buyout in half.
Yeah.
Trev Alberts finally said, you know what?
It was crazy.
I saw enough. We'll pay $15 million.
It's like $7 million or something like that.
It was
They
half.
would've
It was
said,
down to 7.5.
Yeah. All you had to do is wait 2 weeks.
I mean,
That's that bad. They had to get rid of it right now.
They did.
I mean, can you not wait 2 weeks to save $7 million?
Apparently, there was enough heat on Trev Alberts to say, we got to get this
one
done.
of those weeks is one of my locks of the week. They play Oklahoma this weekend.
So I'm leading up to that right now. So you were 0-2 last week in
Yeah.
locks. We do 2 of these a week for those just tuning in. One of them, let's talk about that, Oklahoma, Nebraska.
How can you not take Oklahoma? They're given 10.5 at Nebraska. I get it. Nebraska's got a great environment. Maybe they'll have some resurgence of enthusiasm. That lasts usually about 3 plays. I just don't see the talent level being the same. And
Oklahoma covers.
Oklahoma covers by 17. Yeah,
It's 10.5 right now.
That's my lock.
The other lock is an
what?
interconference game.
I'd like Georgia Tech. It's at home. I got to see them against Clemson. And although that game kind of got away from them in the second half, some good things there. And I know Georgia Tech's been woeful. I get that. 16 points at home against Ole Miss. I'll take Georgia Tech. That's my 2 locks.
Okay. We got those filed away. And you know
I'm
what?
on 2-2 right now, so not so good. But
I got to write those down. Georgia
Yep,
Tech and
yep.
Ole Miss. All right. Week 1 of the NFL. Anything
Wow.
jump out at you?
Buffalo's really, really good. I think they look like the best team. Nice to see Cleveland get a win on the road. Not surprising. That was kind of a pick 'em. Best quarterback in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes. Best running back in the NFL is Nick Chubb.
By the way,
This is after week 1.
And again, just like last year, I think we sat here and said this: Green Bay stunk. They were
Green Bay
terrible.
stunk on opening week. Don't worry, they'll be fine when it comes
They will.
In a few weeks because Rodgers is everything he said. Cowboys are in trouble.
Yeah, that's where I was going next. That Dak injury is big. I mean, there's 4 to 6. Now they think that maybe they can get him back, but what are they going to look like
Well,
after
who are you
a
throwing the
month?
ball to? You got CeeDee Lamb, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's nobody. I mean, there's nobody. You saw that against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be good. I don't know if they're,
They're not elite. I don't
know if they're elite right now. I don't know, but they couldn't do anything. They could not get any separation.
I think a great matchup to start our NFL weekend tomorrow night, which, by the way, just as a friendly reminder, my friend, don't go looking on TV for this. This is Amazon Prime tomorrow night. Chargers, Chiefs. That's a good match. Both teams looked spectacular in week 1. That's a great Thursday game.
It really is. NFL's whatever. NFL's pick 'em. It's just one stud making one great play more than the other stud. So Chiefs look pretty good. Chargers pretty good. Could go either way. I wouldn't want to.
I'm gonna take the Chargers on the road.
Okay.
I'm gonna ride
a little
that.
more pressure from the outside there. The 2 defensive ends.
I got a feeling of. I don't know. I like that Charger team.
Okay.
I really do. Anything else from sports weekend as we head into a fun match? We got Eden Montpelier this week, and
I was
some
impressed
things.
by Eden last weekend. I got to give them props. I thought that, quite frankly, I thought between you and me, Northwood would beat them. And I didn't think Eden physically could match up with them up front. Knew Eden would score. Eden did. They physically matched up with them up front. Now, they got some help with some turnovers and some penalties, so it wasn't like Northwood was inept or anything like that. But I was impressed with how Eden is evolving. and not just on the offensive end with Kyler Sapp and those who are but defensively.
And on the flip side, Andy Robinson got his first career win as head coach at Montpelier.
Man,
they hung some points last week in a Saturday win.
I love Andy Robinson. He's doing a good job. Yep, that was a big win for him. So happy for the Locomotives to get their first win. Yep.
So that'll be our Friday game, 7 o'clock kick, and we'll be on at about 6:30. Thanks for coming tonight, my friend.
Brother.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Our thanks to our guests tonight, Kent Holsopple of Stryker, Travis Cooper from Defiance. Next week, Bob Olwin from Eden, and Jason Hale from Antwerp will be joining us. Sports Weekly, driven by Terry Hendricks Ford, J.J. Wins, Brian Parks and Rec Department, Fackler Monument Company, and the main stops of Northwest Ohio. More rock now on the way for a Wednesday on B-Rock.